Hey friends, how's it going? Joe Pal SVH here, coming at you with a daily nugget trilogy today, because I found three nuggets that I thought were all really good and they all kind of fit together. And sometimes that's just how it goes. You know, you start looking for a nugget and you find one, and then you're like, man, that's great. Is that really the right one for today? And then you look up another one, and it's like, man, that fits right along with it. And so today I ended up finding three. So we're just gonna do a little trilogy. So want to start off by giving a shout out to my boy Oz Fox from the rock band Striper. Oz was my first guitar hero growing up, and he just recently had a brain tumor operated on, and he's still got a long road ahead of him, but he's doing really well. And I just like, he's already out and walking around, and I mean, it's been less than a week. He's out and about and doing his thing, playing guitar. So love you, Oz. Appreciate all the inspiration and support that you've given over the years. Yeah, you know, growing up, I was raised in a strict Christian home, and I was a wild child, so I was really into rock and roll. You know, that was what my thing, but I wasn't really allowed to listen to it at home. So Striper was it, man. They were, able to really bring the heat and bring the fire without, bringing the evil demonic stuff that supposedly was coming with everything else that was out there that wasn't Christian music or was secular, so to speak. So anyway, I really respected them, and they really did a lot to influence me. And I'll tell a quick story. When I think I was about 13 or 14, but I think it was about 12 or 13. I've been playing a couple years, and I got really good kind of quick, because this was my outlet. You know, it really clicked with me. So I, excuse me, took guitar very seriously. And Striper was one of my favorite bands at the time, so I learned a ton of their songs. And there's a couple songs in particular I played really well. And we used to go down to Nashville for something called the Dove Awards, which was like the Christian Grammy Awards. I don't even think they do the Dove Awards anymore, but they did them for a long time. And we went down there every year, and my dad was a church choir director, so he would sing in the choir on the show, and it was this big whole production. And I went down there one year, and Striper was there. And so I got to meet these guys, and it was a huge thing for me. And anyway, we're at one of the rehearsals for the actual show, and I got to go to the rehearsal because my dad was singing in the choir. And I'm sitting there, and Oz is sitting like two rows up in front of me, and I see my dad get up and walk up to him, and I'm like, oh no, I'm going to be so embarrassed. And he comes back to my seat a couple minutes later. He goes, Oz is coming to your room tomorrow at 2:00 to jam with you. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So here my dad had talked to him, told him I was a guitar player, that I was really good, and that, I played their songs, and that he was my biggest influence. And would you mind coming in, at least hearing him play a little bit? So, man, next day, 2:00 on the nose, I showed up at my hotel room and knocked on the door, and came in and sat down, and I showed him my little guitar rig that I brought with me, and played him a couple of tunes, and he was just really, really super cool. And then he showed me some riffs and played some stuff for me, showed me, what I could do to improve the couple of things I was playing. And then he played me like new riffs off their upcoming album and everything. So I was like, this guy's amazing. So Oz has always just been super cool. Really great guy. That was a huge experience. Well, then fast forward, I don't know, a lot of years, 30 some years. And, I played a gig with Brian Head Welch out in Nevada, in Las Vegas, and that's where Oz lives. And so early in the day, I ended up meeting, Robert Sweet, the drummer. I met his wife, Victoria, super sweet lady, still good friends. She's just really, really kind-hearted person. And so I put her and her family on the list so they could show up at the show and come hang out with us afterwards. And then I go backstage a couple minutes after I talked to her, and there's Oz, and I got some really great pictures of Oz. And this is before I was vegetarian, but I got some really great pictures of Oz and Head, and I all like eating chicken together and just like goofing around and having a good time. So I just wanted to give some love to Oz tonight. I wore the shirt. You can pick one of these up. You can go to their website, striper.com. And you can pick one of these shirts up. All the proceeds are going to help him with his medical expenses and stuff. So I had the shirt on today, so I had to take the time to give a little shout out to my buddy Oz. So love you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Stay well. and we're all praying for you. So with that said, I wanted to jump into a trinity of nuggets, a trilogy, if you will. Oh, I keep forgetting there's comments over here. So if you want to comment at any time, I'll try to chime in. I got the comments on. So first nugget for today is going to come to us from the guy on Notes from the Unstruck Music by Hazrat Inayakon. Faithfulness has a fragrance to it, which is perceived in the atmosphere of the faithful. Faithfulness has a fragrance to it, which is perceived in the atmosphere of the faithful. Yeah, I mean, this really says it all. I mean, if you ever met somebody and they just have a presence, or they just have a certain sense of knowing that everything's going to be okay, or they have a certain, ability to just kind of let things roll off their shoulders. I think that's a really good expression of what this is saying. Faithfulness has a fragrance to it, which is perceived in the atmosphere of the faithful. So when you think about faithfulness, it creates something inside of you, right? And the more you water that faith, the more that you tend to the gardening of that faithfulness, that entity of faith within you, or that energy of faith, the more it grows, and the more that it expands, and the more it becomes something much bigger and much greater. And so when you think of then you get the essence, right? So you think of a seed, you plant a seed, right? And it just looks like a little seed at first, and then it's a little sprout, and then the sprout grows bigger, and then it turns into a little plant, and then the plant gives off a little bud, and then the bud turns into a flower, and you get this whole experience. But within that seed is contained the whole essence of the flower, right? So when I think of a fragrance, the fragrance is the essence of the flower, right? So you have the flower, you have the whole plant of the flower, everything, but the fragrance is there. Now, when you're just looking at the seed, you don't catch the essence, right? Because you don't see the smell. Wine is the essence of the grape. There's a lot of different analogies that we can use about the essence or the fragrance. But I really think of that idea of fragrance. I love it. Rumi talks about it a lot, the poet Rumi. And whenever we're talking about, fragrance, the idea of fragrance, it's an essence that is given off, right? Excuse me. The smell of the rose is the essence of the rose. So if you have faith, and you have extreme faith, and you believe in the divine, or you believe in whatever it is that you do, you can be faith in yourself, faith in your work, the things that you do. All of this creates an atmosphere, and in that atmosphere is created a fragrance, and that fragrance carries, and it can carry a little bit, or it can carry a lot of it, So it just really is a matter of how deep that faith is. So when you think about what we have and what we give off, so much of that becomes part of our atmosphere. And I think we forget that. So if you're negative, or you had a pissy attitude, or you just had a crappy day and all that kind of stuff, you're definitely going to give off a fragrance, and it's not going to smell nice. It's not going to be good, and it might not come as a smell to the other person. I'm using this as a point, as an analogy, or in a parabolic way. But yeah, excuse me, I got a little tickle in my throat here. But when you think of a fragrance and emitting a fragrance, that has a real, you can sense that, you can really feel that, you can really get an idea or a concept, you can wrap your head around it. So I'm sure I give a fragrance off, wherever I go. Maybe not so much because I'm faithful, but because I work in the cannabis industry and I probably always have a little funk on me. But you know, but I am faithful, and I do try to carry that faithfulness, and I do try to really keep that fragrance at the forefront of what I do. So, you know, the essence, magnetism, all those kinds of things. Excuse me. All of those are really important, and I think all of what this alludes to. So I got two more, so I'm not going to say too much more about this one. Faithfulness has a fragrance to it, which is perceived in the atmosphere of the faithful. That's your first daily nugget for today. Now, coming to us from Alchemical Wisdom, from Pure Vilayat and Icon, who was the son of Hazrat and Icon. And again, this is called a source for intensive inner work. And I'm telling you, you know it. So right here, I just opened it up today and I read this, and I thought this was really just very fitting, you know? Your power is limited by your objective. If your objective is service, the power that comes through you is unlimited. Your power is limited by your objective. If your objective is service, the power that comes through you is unlimited. So I think that this is really alluding to the fact that there's no greater objective in life than to be of service to other people. And in everything that you do, no matter what your I want to say volition. I don't know if that's the right word to use. Whatever your drive is in life, whatever your passion, whatever you feel your purpose in life is, we go after things with our own objective. My objective was always to be a rock star, you know, to make it big and make lots of money and to be famous and to, you know, influence people with my fame and fortune, right? Well, you know, you see where that got me. My power was limited to my objective, and my objective was very small because it was all about me. Even though I had an idea that I was going to do great things in the world and wanted to uplift people, I was doing it by screaming and yelling and, you know, doing, you know, really dark, angry, heavy metal. So I had to kind of check myself a little bit there. And in the words of the great Ice Cube, I had to check myself before I wreck myself. But if your objective is service, the power that comes through you is unlimited. Imagine having unlimited power. Think about that for a second while I let this cat out. There you go, buddy. Got a hairless cat named Mystic, and boy, is he something else. Imagine having unlimited power. Unlimited power. What would that be like? And not in the sense of, you know, the evil overlord that I have unlimited power. Yes, what shall I do with my unlimited power now? You know, take over the world, Pinky. Not that kind of power, but unlimited power, because once you are about service, you're not about yourself. You're about everybody else. And when you let go of the self, you merge into the unlimited, and you have that unlimited power of the divine, because the divine is all about service, right? You know, God is here to serve us, to help us to serve others, to you know, experience life through us, and to help us to grow. You know, so the power that comes through a heart of service is really an unlimited power. And when you really give of yourself completely to other people, or to your vocation, or to who you are, what you are, man, it's just, it all comes back to you tenfold. Now, if it's all about you and it's all about what can I get from this, or what am I going to get out of this, then no, it's not going to work the same way. But to really create unlimited power, think about that. That is a heart of service. because you become one with the many and not just one with yourself, Um, so yeah, having that heart of service is really important. Yes, sir, Dom. Make more than a lot of sense. Give and you receive. Everything that you give out, it just it reverberates and it comes back to you. You give out shit, and you're gonna get shit back. You give out love, it's gonna come back to you. And it reverberates. And you think about a reverberation, like if you're in a big empty room or a big empty hall and you yell out, your voice is loud and you hear what you hear right here, but then that reverberation just carries and fills the room. And when you hear that back in your ears, now you're hearing something really power. Yep, service to others, brother. If everybody helped everybody, then nobody would need anything. Man, ain't that true, my brother Adam? Ain't that true? I'm telling you, that's what we need. We just need to be a society of being of service to each other. And then we would all just help each other and we'd all work together and the load would be much lighter. Man, it would be so much lighter. And yeah, it's crazy. So, with that being said, your power is limited by your objective. But if your objective is service, the power that comes through you is unlimited. So, if you want that unlimited power, be of service to others in any way that you can. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be a big production. I've thought for years that I had to have all this stuff to be able to do these, videos, to be able to do any kind of a live teaching. I thought I had to have a big following to be able to be a big teacher and all this other stuff. That's all BS, man. You don't need any of that. All you need is to just 100% be in tune with who you are and give of yourself in service. Give what you got, and that's the thing you got to understand too, is you can't give the coins you don't have in your own pocket. That's what my teacher says. So we only teach things that we've experienced ourselves. So if I do a meditation, I can share it to someone else. If I read about a meditation or learn about a meditation, but I haven't practiced it myself, why am I giving it to somebody else? Because I don't know what it does. I don't know the feeling or the experience because I haven't experienced it for myself. So give of the coins that you have in your own pocket. And a lot of people don't have a whole lot in their pocket, but if you got a big heart, give that. If you got raps, and I know my boy Adam got raps, you give those raps. You got words, you got rhymes, you got beats, you give it. You've got music, you got songs, give it. You got poetry, give it. And you don't have to do it for anybody's approval. Just do it when it feels right. Do it when it feels like it's open and you are where you want to be, and give it. And if you got nothing to give other than popping on, a social media page every day and saying hi to people, hey, if you're out there and you're seeing this, I love you. You're loved. That's all you got to do. Give that, because somebody needs to hear it. And there's a lot of days that I really just don't have a whole lot of energy. I don't have a whole lot of time left, and I want to be able to be this clear channel and give some big, awesome bowl, a bowl of sake or daily nugget that's going to kick ass and everybody's going to love it. And some days I just feel like I can't give that today. But you know what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I give that or I give even myself completely defeated. If I come to you completely defeated, but I'm honest and I'm open and I'm saying, man, I had the worst day ever. And I don't know if I'm even feeling what I'm saying right now, but I want to share something. And this is what I opened up to. I need to do that. So I'm taking myself to task here to make sure that the objective that I put off is not my own objective, but the objective to be of service. Because in that is the unlimited power. Service to others really makes everything smoother. Yes, it does. Because otherwise we're just going through hard, rocky, life and just hitting walls. But the more that we help each other and lend a hand, the more we can navigate through those rocky moments. So super important. I appreciate you guys chiming in. Okay, last one for today. The bowl of sake. So the bowl of sake from Hazrat Inayat Khan, again, is really just these are daily affirmations. These are little things that are said, little nuggets of wisdom. That's where the daily nugget came from, because I always saw these as nuggets of wisdom. And this one's dated. These are all dated for particular dates. So this one is dated for March 25th. And I think this is also a really poignant point, and kind of ties in with the other two as well. So, he who is filled with the knowledge of names and forms has no capacity for the knowledge of God. He who is filled with the knowledge of names and forms has no capacity for the knowledge of God. Now, the first thing that comes to mind when I read this is if anybody out there is a Bruce Lee fan, which I know many people are. um, Remember Enter the Dragon? If you haven't seen it, you need to go get this movie, or you need to rent it, or you need to watch it. There's a really amazing scene in there where Bruce Lee is teaching a young student about emotional content, and the guy's getting angry, and he's punching with anger, and he's like, "No, that's not emotional content." And then he gave him another exercise to do, and after a few minutes, he ends up kind of getting the feel of what the move is that he's doing, and he says, "How does that feel?" to the student, and the student says, "Well, let me think." And he pops him on the head and he says, "Don't think, feel." And then he says, "It's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't focus on the finger or you'll miss all that heavenly glory." I mean, how good is that? How good is that? How good is that? Hey, Ron, good to have you here, brother. No problem. You can catch the replay. We got a little to go here. We did a triple nugget today, so we've got a lot of good info here. But I was just saying, that particular scene really reminds me of this, because he was filled with this kid in the movie. He was filled with his own ideal of what emotional content is. Oh, if I get angry and I put more power into it, that's it. No, it's about feeling the energy, feeling the movement through your body, feeling the flow, feeling how you can take all the power from your left foot and project it all the way up through your body, out your right fist, through your target, and the rest is history, right? So that scene really pops up in mind when I read this. He who is filled with the knowledge and names and forms has no capacity for the knowledge of God. Because if you're filled with this concept or idea of what it is you're trying to do, without really letting it be, letting it naturally flow through you, letting it naturally come to you in the way that it should, you're never going to really experience it the way that it's meant to be experienced, because there's this concept that gets in the way. People have an idea of God. They have a idea of divinity, or however you see it, the creator, whatever you call it. People have this idea, and we fill ourselves with this idea, and that doesn't leave any more room for anything else. I grew up in a really strict Christian home, and I was taught that Jesus is the only way, and that unless you accept Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, you're going to hell. And I struggled with that for years. I was like, I see these Buddhist, monks who spend way more time in prayer and meditation than any of my Christian friends. And these guys seem so close to God. How is it that they're going to go to hell because they don't believe in, they haven't accepted Christ? Or when I was a young boy, I used to ask, what if you live in a land where there's not missionaries? You live out in the jungle and you've never heard about Jesus. You've never read a Bible. You've never had a missionary come and speak to you, and you die of some disease. Does that mean you're going to hell because you didn't believe in Christ? So these are all questions that I had. And over time, I had my own hangups and rebelled and did my own things and said some nasty things about, Christian people and Christianity. And I'm sorry, and I apologize. And I've done my whole thing of, really making my own alms with Christ. And I have a deep relationship with Christ. And I believe that there's a Christ consciousness that lives in me. And that's what I try to really attach to and really work through. And I believe that same consciousness, that same Christ consciousness, runs through all these teachers and all these masters. So if I'm invoking something from one of these beings that have taught us these great things, Christ is part of that because it's all one truth, so you can't take him out of anything. But to only have your cup filled with that is really limiting yourself to what God is. Um, Having putting God into any form or any name or any ideal or concept is really limiting God in itself because God is endless, formless. Um, you can't even put it into words, right? You can't. So when you fill yourself with that idea or that concept, you have no capacity left for the true knowledge that comes through the experiencing of God. So that's what this really is key to. He who is filled with the knowledge of names and forms has no capacity for the knowledge of God. Now, it's called in, I don't know if this is Sanskrit, it might be Sanskrit, but in the yogic world, it's known as an akasha. An akasha is an accommodation. It's a space that we make. So in my particular practice of Sufism, what I do is we do a practice called the zikr, where we sweep and open that chamber of the heart to clear it out and to empty it. And it's an emptying of that, all the names and knowledge and the forms and any concepts that we have. It's an emptying of that so that that space can be filled with the essence, the experience of God. Okay, so I talked about the essence earlier in the first bolasaki, or the first nugget. It's full circle because that's really what this is. You have to empty yourself of any previous idea, concept, notion, ideal, belief system, any of that. Even me calling myself a Sufi is wrong, right? And honestly, in our path, we don't call ourselves Sufis. If we do, it's only a formality to tell somebody kind of the path that we're on or what our particular path is. But to really call myself a Sufi, I used to have at the beginning of my videos, it used to say, author, musician, Sufi mystic. I took Sufi mystic off and I just put mystic, because even to claim that you're something is limiting, and God is beyond that. And the whole idea of Sufism is really encompassing all religions, all faiths, all beliefs. It's all one. Our mantra is toward the one, united with all. So you can't get more unified than that. But even in that, to still claim that you are a certain this or that is still limiting God, and it's still limiting your capacity to experience God in a fuller variety. So I just feel that it's important to kind of message that, to share that as part of this message too. He who is filled with the knowledge of names and forms has no capacity for the knowledge of God. So work to create that akasha, work to create that opening within the heart and within your mind, within your soul, within your being, to really be clear of any preconceived idea or notion. And how do you do that? Because we all have our own beliefs and everything, right? But when you go into prayer, or you go into meditation, or you walk into nature, just go into it with an openness, a complete emptiness. Empty yourself. Take a few minutes and take a few breaths and just empty your lungs. Take a moment to just feel your heart. And if there's something on your heart that's heavy or weighing, just let it go. Just do a couple minutes of breathing, do a couple practices, chant a few sacred words that work for you, and clear that from the heart. We also talk about another great Sufi use or ideology that we use is polishing the mirror of the heart. So we see the heart as a mirror, and if you polish it, then you see clearly through it, right? But every day we get dust and rust on our heart. Everything we do is another layer of filth. Everything that we experience is another thing. We're out in the world and we hear somebody, cursing and yelling and somebody fighting, and it's like another layer of dust that gets put over the heart. We have to keep polishing that to keep that mirror clean. So what's reflected in it is the purity of the divine that is pouring through us and that is pouring out of us, right? So it's just so important to really think of those particular things, of just keeping ourselves open, keeping ourselves clear, and not being filled with anything. Have that cup half full rather than, or half empty rather than half full, And if you can empty it all the way, empty it all the way. You don't need anything in your cup. because what's coming to you is new and it's exciting and it's invigorating. It doesn't mean that what was in your cup before is gone forever, right? You've drank it, you've imbibed it, you've taken it down, you've assimilated it, you've taken the waste and you've pissed it away, and you've taken the stuff that you really need and you've assimilated it in your body to where now it's something and it's a part of you. So you haven't lost anything, you just moved it through you, so you've emptied yourself of the holding of that. So I think that's just a really important point to make as well too. So um yeah, that was it, man. I just really wanted to kind of share these couple bowl I always say bowl of sake because I'm reading out a bowl of sake, but these couple of nuggets with you. I feel that all together they make a nice happy meal that hopefully will help you feel nourished and put a smile on your face, as happy meals always do, right? Even though I don't encourage happy meals because it's a bunch of crappy food and you shouldn't eat that stuff. So it's just an analogy. But at any rate, wanted to take a minute to, just really just acknowledge and thank you all for taking the time to be a part of the Daily Nugget. I'm going to really work hard to not miss a day. I'm really going to work hard to not miss a day. It's hard sometimes, but I make excuses and I can't make excuses anymore. You people are there for me. I appreciate it. And you know what? We're all here to hold each other up. So if I'm down one day or I'm having a rough time, I'm going to still do my damnedest to be on here and to share with you because I appreciate you, family. I love you. I care about you. And I really can't thank you enough for the encouraging remarks, for showing up every day, for plugging a couple of thoughts down in the comments, for subscribing, all those things. It means a lot. I'm not here to try to get big on my YouTube page. I'm not trying to be a influencer or a YouTube star. I got enough influence in other areas of my life that I don't need any of that stuff. But I do truly appreciate the honest and sincere appreciation for what I do here, and it means a lot to me that people chime in every day. So I appreciate you guys. I want to say thank you to Ron. I want to say thank you to Dom. I want to say thank you to Adam. Thank you guys for chiming in and sharing some comments over here on the side. I truly appreciate that. And I appreciate everyone else that's watching, whether you're commenting or not. I love you. I appreciate you. And you're here and you're present. And that means a lot to me. So you take care of yourself. Think about these. I guess I'm going to read them all one more time, right? Why not? Oh, I think I lost the first one, though. Oops. No, I didn't. Thanks, Big Daddy. He pointed it right out. Faithfulness has a fragrance to it, which is perceived in the atmosphere of the faithful. Faithfulness has a fragrance to it, which is perceived in the atmosphere of the faithful. Number 2. Your power is limited by your objective. If your objective is service, the power that comes through you is unlimited. Oh, yeah. Unlimited power. Think about that. You got it. It's yours. And lastly, he who is filled with the knowledge of names and forms has no capacity for the knowledge of God. So keep yourself open, folks. Empty that cup. I want to say thank you to Piro Murshid Hazrat Nayat Khan. Thank you for these teachings and all that you have taught me on this path. Thank you. Pir Vilayat, my teacher's guide. Thank you. And to Pir Zia, the son of Pir Vilayat, who I currently have the honor of learning from and working with, who's the head of our order. Thank you. I appreciate all that you do for us and all that you've done for me. And again, to all of you who have taken a moment to share these teachings and to join in, I appreciate it. So if you just tuned in, make sure you hop on back over here and watch it again. Thank you. Let me see if I say it. Bilkies 14. I think that's it. Appreciate you tuning in. It's okay that you're here late. You still showed up to the show. I appreciate it. And them nuggets make a pure ingot. I love that. I appreciate it. Yep, we try to do what we can here to create something good. So I appreciate everybody. I hope that you guys all have a wonderful night, get a good night's rest, and we'll be back tomorrow, without a doubt, for another Daily Nugget. Appreciate you. I mean,